Whoa. Oh my God. We'll cut that out.
Hi, this is Cristina Dam, and this is Liberate the podcast, where we educate, motivate, inspire, and liberate your consciousness. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Liberate the podcast. Today, we're deep diving into healing and healing one of our powerful healers that we have. That she's our Reiki Master here. She teaches other people how to become their own healer and has went through a tremendous healing journey of herself. And I want to kind of allow her to share with you today about how no matter what has happened in your life, that you can find a way to heal, to overcome, and to move forward. And that's going to be today's topic. So welcome, Nia, from Turn Your Shine On.
Yay! I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Cristina.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want everybody to hear a little bit about you.
Yeah.
I mean, I shared a little bit about being a Reiki Master, a facilitator for teaching and training people in Reiki, but there's so much more to you. So if you could just share a little bit of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, definitely, I mean, Reiki teacher is definitely high up there on the list. It is where I kind of came home to myself. But honestly, I was always one of those people that, even though I had so many issues myself, I was always that person that people kind of came to if they had a problem or something. I was always a space holder. I didn't know what to call it then. I just knew I had a lot of empathy and I really wanted to help people. The truth is, at first though, I couldn't really help myself. And today, it's actually the first time that I'm talking kind of more publicly or in a really public way about my own abuse.
Okay.
When I first started dealing with the sexual abuse that I had gone through, that literally lasted for about 10 years with 3 different people and was very repetitive for a long period of time. And I was messed up. That's just the truth. I had tried to kill myself. I was one of the most depressed people that I had ever known or met. And I really didn't have hope. And what happened was, actually, at the age of, I think it was 20, I was 20, I got pregnant. And it was getting pregnant. I ended up losing the baby. I was going to have her, but I ended up losing her, which is, of course, another trauma. But the truth is, I couldn't have been a very good parent at that time. I was very screwed up myself. And she was the impetus for getting me to heal.
Wow.
And the first step in that was reading other people's stories. I went to a therapist, and she gave me a book. I think it's called The Courage to Heal.
Okay.
And there was a lot of other people's stories in there. And reading these stories of them going through similar kinds of things that I had been through, but sounding happy and free. It was so amazing to me. And I knew right then, I will give this back one day. Like, not only will I will heal, because I have hope now. I can see other people who have done it.
Other people did it. And it gave you that spark of saying, wait a second.
Exactly.
These people went through this, and now they're perceiving, or what you're reading is happy, and you're like,
it's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just that little spark that people need of knowing that something can happen.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, when we're faced with that in anything, if we don't think that it can happen for me or that it even can happen in general, then people don't even try.
Right. Exactly.
So you're going through and you're reading these stories and you're getting the spark of hope.
Yeah.
And you're having this awareness and realization that not only will you get through this, you'll be able to give back.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And that began kind of my healing journey. And at first it was very much more traditional, in the sense that I went to a therapist, and that was, and that helped, a tremendous amount. And for me, the Reiki was my first foray
four-way, I don't know.
Whatever word I'm trying to use right now. It was my introduction into kind of alternative therapy. And for me, when I found the Reiki, it brought me home. Because something that happens, especially when you're very young and experiencing trauma, especially some kind of physical trauma, is that you leave your body. And it becomes a very normal thing to not actually be in the body.
To disassociate.
To disassociate, exactly. And even though I had done the therapy and the therapy had helped, there was still so much that wasn't okay. And in that Reiki, in getting attuned to Reiki, the ceremony where you become a channel for this Reiki energy, the thought I actually had was, oh, there I am. And so it was literally like this homecoming. I had put myself away to keep myself safe. And it wasn't until I got attuned to Reiki, until that energy, that amazing healing energy moved through me, and I actually came home into my life, into my body, and really started healing on in ways that I don't think I really knew were possible.
You connected to yourself.
Exactly.
And reestablish that connection and that parts. Sometimes people say that there's fragmented parts of the soul that go out too.
Exactly.
And it's like that pulling that force back in.
Yeah, exactly.
And you had a pretty profound experience when you first did Reiki, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It was besides that homecoming and that feeling, didn't like your hands get super hot and things like that happen too?
Yeah, so I'm extremely energetically sensitive. And so for me, it was like walking out, because the energy, it's coming in through the crown, it's moving throughout you, and it's coming out. We have little chakras on the palms of the hands. And so the second I got attuned, my Reiki was like, dun, 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 dun. It was like, we were ready, we were like, we need this, we know, we're going for it. And right away, it felt like this blast of energy was coming out of my hands. And for days, I just walked around. I felt like I was walking around going, it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Wow. Yeah. And then where did that continue on that journey for that self-healing?
Yeah, so with the Reiki, one of the things that happens is you go through a 21-day cleanse. It moves through the chakras, clearing out old patterns, old beliefs, just energies that are not serving. There's actually a machine that they can hook you up to. Electromyograph? That's not right, but you can find it, and they can measure what you vibrate at as a total being, what your frequency is. Most people vibrate at around 250 cycles per second or hertz. People who do Reiki or other forms of energy work vibrate anywhere from 400 to 800 cycles per second.
Wow.
So for me, that shows a correlation with the cleanse. Like literally you're going through a physiological change.
Yeah, you're not vibrating at the same. You're literally becoming a different vibration and a being.
Exactly. And so I remember going back and reading the journals that I kept during that 21-day cleanse, and things, from the abuse, from whatever, just living life. We all have traumas. We all have things. You have like these issues or these habits that aren't serving you. And without even trying, these things that I had been trying to heal just all of a sudden kind of fell away. And when I went back and read those journals, I was like, oh my gosh, I like forgot about that was an issue that I had been holding on to for 20 years or however long. And I haven't even thought about it in 5 months.
Wow.
So a lot of the healing that happens, or that happened for me with the Reiki, it was just like boom. I almost didn't even have to try. It just went through and cleared me out in so many ways.
Okay, and as you're getting cleared out and you're having this totally different perception, do you think that there's that when you're looking at the trauma that you went through now, and it's not to ever say that in any way, shape, or form that anything's good, but do you see how it served on some level for developing these gifts? Because I know that that's a lot of things that people hold a lot of shame, or they hold a lot of, why, or poor me, or like this kind of energy of, I can't believe this has happened, and that in that there's a level of, if they feel that they forgive that, then they're giving permission for that.
Absolutely. Okay, so yes, I believe, and my experience was that it wasn't until I could come into gratitude. Not saying that I would ever go through it again, or that it needs to repeat itself, or that it even needs to have been done in that way.
Yeah.
Or that we need to suffer for growth.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it is what happened. And now I can be in gratitude for it because of who I am today.
Yeah.
I love who I am today. There are so many amazing things that came out of the experience. And so I believe when you are truly have moved through all the trauma and you get to that space of not just forgiveness, but gratitude.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of that too. Because it's not that you're saying that, hey, yeah, let me live that again or whatnot, or like you say, that there's not another path that could have, but that path happened,
exactly.
Right? And so if you're dealt a deck of cards, are you playing in the game of it, or are you, like looking at and hoping that it was different or wishing that it was different? It's like, well, you can learn from this. Yeah. You can grow from this. You became, you delve into reading those people's stories, to diving into being that healer that you are. And maybe you would have been, but you might not have been in the same way, because it's like Groundhog Day. You change one thing and everything's different. And that's so beautiful. I can tell that you're authentically in that space of gratitude.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, it took me a long time. And like you touched on, I think the reason it takes a long time, because there is that part of you that was so hurt. Yeah. And is so in that space of never again, that you really have to work with that part. And it's not until that part of you is really ready that you can come into the full forgiveness and the gratitude.
Yeah, because that part's your protector.
Absolutely.
It's like that force or that wall that says, I'm never going to allow this to happen again. And then as long as that I'm never going to allow this to happen again, there can't be a level of gratitude, because there's a level of fear that is still persistent. Yeah.
And what we get confused about is that we think holding on tightly is what is keeping us safe. If we just hold on so that it never happens again, so that we're protecting ourselves, we're keeping ourselves safe. But the truth is, that's actually what keeps us from being healed. It's what keeps it alive. It's what keeps the pain still present instead of in the past. Yeah. All of that. And so it's in moving with yourself in a way that is so gentle and so compassionate and so loving that you can bring all of yourself forward out of the pain, out of the memory, out of all of it, into this now moment where you're this amazing being that has learned and grown and seen so much.
And expanded.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think one of the, a different type of scenario that maybe could help people that are having a hard time grasping this would be looking at, sometimes when people get a broken heart. Yeah. And then they hold on so tight to not wanting that to happen again. But as long as they hold on tight and they prevent themselves from ever entering into another relationship, they're feeling that they're unlovable. They're feeling like there's something wrong. They're feeling like, that heart is literally broken. Yeah. But until they can open up, and then they meet somebody else, right? But it's in that openness that they that letting go, that they release, and then they feel, and they can get into a deeper level of love, a deeper level of experience, right?
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt.
Okay, so, and then you're going through, and your healing is pretty instantaneous. And I know that, for some people that you've worked with, it takes a little bit longer, because you said that they have to be ready, that part of them, so I don't want to put out a misconception out for the people that might be watching that, okay, I do this, and then let's say I read a couple empowering stories, I watch this podcast, I go and get a Reiki attunement, and all my problems are going to be gone.
Oh my God.
Because there was a lot of work you were doing on yourself. Absolutely. And you were ready. Right. And then what got you to get to that place of gratitude? Because I think that's an important aspect, because where did you allow yourself to not hold on tight?
Yeah, so a few things. So for me, it was a long journey. While some of it was instantaneous, and while that there was this like, oh my gosh, I'm actually home now, and this life before Reiki and life after Reiki, there was still a long pathway for me of, okay, I healed this part, but now look what's showing up. Or I healed this space, or I thought I healed this space, but guess what? It's going deeper than I thought. And so yeah, while some things, will shift or can shift very quickly, and some things take longer. And then sometimes everyone's way and story is different. I think there's a couple things. I don't think I'm answering your question, but it's just coming.
Yeah,
so
this is whatever's coming is meant to come.
Determination. There's just deciding that without a doubt, no matter what, you're not going to stop until you feel that gratitude, until you know that without a doubt you're healed or over it, or however you want to say it. Gosh, there's got to be a better way where you're in that space of knowing that you are all of you, and that you are always whole, and that now you just know you're whole.
So a really strong will, and a really strong, like, it's almost like that when you're telling me that you were reading those stories and like you knew, like this not only gave you hope, but you almost even got beyond that. And you've seen you crossed the finish line to beyond. You weren't just, running that race and going to finish the race. You were going to see yourself in the next chapter, but that you knew you were going to help others. You knew you were going to get to that place and that pull. And so that strong determination, that strong momentum, that strong willpower.
Yeah. And it was very interesting for me, because after therapy, I actually hit my rock bottom after therapy.
Interesting.
And what was beautiful about it, though, let me say this, I did suffering very well. Like I went as far as I could really into suffering. And with the therapy, I there was a lot that started to heal and started to move. And I got off the medication that I was on that had helped me, because I had been depressed for so long. That did really help the depression. I got off of it and was dating someone who, let me put it this way. There was one day we were walking down the street, and this lady out of nowhere just stops and goes, "Oh, you're dangerous," to the man that I was dating.
Oh,
and
wow.
He was. And it was this rock bottom. But what happened for me was that I saw very clearly that if I took one more step in this direction, I would become the abuser.
Wow.
And I didn't. I went in the opposite direction and continued my healing path. But for me, that was such a powerful experience, because now of course I can forgive then. Oh, I get it. I understand how you live a life. You don't deal with the pain that was done to you. And you then go down this path where you're getting abused more and more. And then you, of course, are then becoming the abuser.
Yeah. Because, the disassociation and the pain becomes so much.
Right.
That it's got to boil out and come out somewhere.
Yeah. So everyone's story is different. Like for me, that was important. It wasn't a fun part of my journey. I didn't exactly enjoy it. I definitely almost felt like I was watching myself, like, what's going on? What are we doing here? And yet, it was part of my healing journey.
Yeah. And so when you realized that if I take one more step, what was your call to action that you did after that? Because that's like a pretty big realization.
Yeah. Well, it was amazing, because I was living in Australia at the time with him, and my return ticket was done. It was void because I had stayed past the time. And I called to see if there was any way that I could get back to the States with this ticket. I had no money at the time. And this lady just knew. She was an angel. When I got to the place to reissue the ticket, the guy was like, I don't know how she did this. It's not possible.
Wow.
So literally, God came and got me a ticket to get out of there. I called in a lot of support and really let people help me. I needed help. That rock bottom, like I needed help, and I let people support me. I have a tendency to be the one supporting others. And that was a time where I really let myself be supported. I will say after that, then I started doing the oh no, I'll support others again. And now I'm relearning. Oh wait, I need people to support me as well.
We need a equal balance. When one side is pushing too far or taking too much, it's it's not good either way, right?
Absolutely.
And so you surrendered in a way.
I surrendered.
And you got help.
I got help, yeah. And, I'll bring this up too. I got back on medication. And that medication, I know we have such a stigma, and I am all about the fact that, it's ridiculous the amount of people that are on medication in this country. It's ridiculous, the politics behind it and all of that. And for me, this medication, it helped me. And that's just the truth. When I did the Reiki, I was able to go cut it down in half.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was also at the time, because I was not a huge insomniac, and they had put me on, and I got on medication to sleep at night. When I did the Reiki, I knew I didn't need that anymore. And I was able to just do Reiki and fall asleep at night. The medication, I'm still on it today. And I had this moment, because after I did the Reiki and we cut it down in half, and then I did all this other healing work, and I'm like happy.
Yeah.
I'm like, my earring fell out.
Oh.
I'm like, I don't need this anymore. And I started going off of it. And my brain chemistry was not ready for that.
Yeah.
And so it took me a while. I had this belief like, wait, I did all the work. I shouldn't need this anymore. And I still need it. And that's okay.
And that is okay.
And
some people, they need it, they need to be on thyroid medication or, blood thinners or different things like for their life. And whether it's something that you need for emotional brain chemistry too,
Exactly.
hey, I'm not a component for how much, the medication is overprescribed. But, there is a need at certain times and for certain people in certain ways. And that, you have to listen to what is right for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I used to say, we if someone doesn't produce insulin, we don't make them feel bad about that.
Yeah.
But if you don't produce
that's what I was trying to get about.
There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get about the thyroid medicine or something like that, because it's like, okay, but if people need that, they need that for their whole life.
Right.
Sometimes, and it's like, well,
Yeah. And I believe in miracles. I wouldn't be surprised as I continue my evolution and my growing and whatever, if all of a sudden I'm able to physiologically change my brain chemistry so I don't need an assist of a antidepressant. Great. That's awesome. And if I don't, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, even on non-medicated things, I've become obsessed with medical medium lately, and he's like celery juice every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like these different things, like some people that's what they need to feel balanced or to have their digestive system work properly or whatever the case may be. And sometimes when we add those other things, even if they're vegetables or fruit, it's still you're adding something to yourself to give yourself the balance that your system needs, right?
Exactly. Yes. So everyone has their own, recipe for what's going to bring them, into their most thriving, authentic, happy, joyful life. And that doesn't mean, I think we have this idea too a lot of times that to be happy means you have to be happy all the time. And it's like, No. There's going to be sadness. There's going to be anger. There's going to be all the emotions.
Yeah. In fact, that's a sign of imbalance too, and people don't realize that. Like, like the euphoria happiness or the super depression, like they're both these opposite sides, right? And that it doesn't mean, I think that it's important to note that sadness and downs are these abilities for us to see what needs to be changed or shifted, right? Yeah. And these euphoric highs or bliss states are what pulls us more towards the things that we enjoy. But, if we're constantly on that space, then, nothing would seem, right? Because then that would it wouldn't have its meaning anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Would it still be joy if it was always joy?
Right.
Or would you become neutral to it? Like, like when you go to a place that you don't visit that often, it has a magic to it. But if you suddenly started living there, it would lose its magic, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I think that too, and I know I did it for a while. When am I going to get there? With the healed. When will I feel healed from this trauma? When won't it be something that comes up that I feel like, oh, there's another aspect of this to deal with? And honestly, for me, that only happened maybe a year or so ago.
Wow.
There was years where I felt like, oh yeah, no, it's all good. And then all of a sudden something would pop open. But here's the thing. What I realized though is that there's no space to get to. Mm-hmm. We're all constantly on a truing journey. That's my favorite word.
Truing journey.
Yeah, that my friends, the Marys, instead of healing, they say truing. We're truing ourselves. Isn't that beautiful?
I love that. Yeah. And that there's no place to get to.
There's no place to get to.
I mean, both of those sayings are.
Yeah. And that's what I've realized. While the reason I know that the abuse, the sexual abuse is no longer a trauma for me is because I'm in that absolute place of gratitude because of the way that I moved myself now. It is a shift that happened, but it was part of what helped me get there was knowing that there was no there to get to. I know it's like paradoxical. Yeah. And realizing that it's this continuous journey. There's always going to be more for us to discover about ourselves, to know about ourselves. There's always going to be new ways that we're like, oh, I used to do this way. I'm realizing now that didn't serve that well. I'm going to do it this way now. Yeah. We're always going to be moving and changing and growing and becoming more. We're continuous. We're infinite. So there's always going to be more to discover. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always say the day you stop learning is the day you stop dying, but it's also the day you stop growing. You're always growing, so, how can you possibly, even just understanding our physical biology. Biologists don't even understand still certain organs and different ways that our cells operate. And they studied these for, decades with some of the best brains in the world, and they still are diving in and finding new things. We just split an atom smaller to find a smaller molecule, where does it continue to go, right? And if it's doing that in on a scientific realm, of course it's going to do that on a metaphysical, energetic, just even, curiosity, self-discovery realm. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So you're having these. If we go back, actually, I want to go back to that question of how you got to the space of gratitude in yourself. Yeah. Okay. Because I think that's a really big one for people to be like, okay, I have this, I'm holding on tight. Yeah. But as you were holding on tight, what was it for you that made you go like that? Well, I think it's a process. I think there's a few things. First, one of them was allowing myself to be fully angry, allowing myself to be angry and not with shame. When we have shame and anger, it really distorts it. When I had this moment of fully being in my anger for having this be what my childhood was, and I recognized the anger as love. It was not only a how dare you to me, how dare you to yourself, how dare you to life. It was I could actually recognize the anger as an expression of love.
Wow.
And that was huge. What else was instrumental in me getting to that space? Yeah. I had to forgive myself. Oftentimes, it's something that you'll hear, hurt people hurt people. I was a very hurt person. I did some things that I am not proud of. And I think for me, one of the reasons it took me so long, or what felt like a long time to really come fully into the gratitude for the experience and fully into the full forgiveness, not just of the abusers, but of myself, was what I did. And it really took me some time. And it was not, I could not have come into gratitude for this experience if I did not forgive myself. It's one of the most important parts. And not only, you may have not done anything you're ashamed of or done anything that you feel like, wow, I did something that actually hurt someone else. You might just, having gone through something like that, oftentimes we take it on, we did something wrong. And so sometimes it's just about getting to that point of forgiveness that happened. Not just like, forgiving the person. And to be clear, forgiving the person doesn't mean that you have to then be in a relationship with the person.
Forgiving doesn't even mean that you say, thank you for doing that.
Right.
It just means I forgive you because I'm forgiving it for me. I'm forgiving you for myself, not for you.
Absolutely.
We're all growing, we're all evolving. Evolution involves time, process, and lots of mistakes, right? So hopefully through their evolution, they're getting their lessons that they won't do that harm to another.
But for me, that was actually the last step. It was the last kind of key in the door that was when I truly, truly forgave myself.
Wow.
That was when I was able to just come into gratitude for it all.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and
when you expressed anger without having the shame or being upset with yourself, did you allow yourself to go and express that outward? Did you scream?
No.
Was there a way that you got that anger out?
Yeah, it was in a space. It was at a workshop. It was actually the Marys who do the truing. They were holding a workshop. I don't remember a whole lot about what we were talking about or what we were doing, but I do remember having, without a doubt, space being held for me.
So that you could drop into that and just be and express that anger outward.
Yeah. And that's what I do. It's why I'm good at what I do. It's why people often come to me who have experienced trauma so that they can have that space held. Not only to feel the anger, sometimes they need to feel, all the pain of it, the rage. Sometimes it's pure rage that comes out. And as a person who holds space for people, if I haven't allowed that in myself, I can't really hold space for it in another. So it definitely, I would highly recommend, if you're moving through some of these deep kind of traumas, that you want to have space held for you, whether it's a therapist or alternative therapist or at a workshop or group event, having someone hold you while that is going on is really important, I think.
And powerful.
Yeah.
Now, and what about the steps into forgiving yourself? Was that like another type of holding the space or was it?
I did have space held for me around that as well. A few times. I couldn't get to the bottom of it right away. That was one of those ones that I had to do by piece by piece by piece. And it was that final one that clicked into place, like, oh, I've gone all the way to the bottom here. I've truly forgiven myself now. And that was, I had space held. Some of the energies, obviously my Reiki, no matter what modality I'm moving with, no matter who I'm moving with, my Reiki is there assisting with that process always. So there's another energy called all love. It's like, I used to call it like Reiki on steroids.
Okay.
Because it's does not kid around. It's very, like, it's a strong energy, and it can definitely help get used to some of those deeper emotional places. See, the thing is that we carry, when we have traumas, especially when we're young, there's no place to express it safely.
Yeah.
And so it's like we have the pain stored over in this part of our body, or the anger stored in this part. It's often why physical disease can occur in the body. And when you heal the emotional reason, the physical ailments will recede as well. And so all love was another energy that was very powerful.
That one sounds really cool.
Yeah, it is.
Reiki on steroids.
Reiki on steroids.
I want that. Do you do that too?
I used to. I still kind of, it's still an energy that vibrates with me. I don't normally do workshops with it anymore.
Gotcha.
But I can put you in touch with Patrick who does them.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and so you got to the space of this all love energy helped kind of hold that frequency in that space for you.
Yeah. The Marys who I was talking about, they have held a lot of space. I think it's important that not only that you find the right energy modalities or whatever modality works for you, but that you find the right space holders for you.
So it sounds like it's a big aspect of this is realizing that you're supported.
Exactly.
And that there's support there to give you that loving space and that loving energy.
Yeah.
Even when you turned into that first healing kind of transformation back when you were in Australia in that bad relationship, and it's like, and then you leaned on friends and people to help, and that was like the first phase of it, that led you into the next phase, right? Mm-hmm. It's beautiful, and it's to know like we are all here to support each other. Otherwise, why are we here?
Absolutely.
Why are we interacting in this world if we're one of the things people love to do most, I'm sure everybody that's listening, is if there's somebody you care about that asks you to do something for them, it's an honor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's allowing other people to have the honor to support the transformation that's going on within you or needs to go on within you.
Yeah, without a doubt. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, take me through that you realized that it was this process that just a year ago that you kind of realized that you got there.
Yeah. That was kind of surprising for me. The last kind of movement that I did with it was with the Marys. And I remember being angry. I was like, I can't believe this is showing up again. I really am over it. I feel like I've done all the work. I was in that space of like, this is not okay. I've done A, I've done B. I've had these amazing experiences of feeling totally free. And here I am in this space of feeling like this is still something that affects me. And they were instrumental in helping me shift the energy, I needed to get that last spot of forgiveness. Mm-hmm. There was still, I did not realize, but there was still a space where I was holding myself hostage. And I did not know that. Yeah. I did not realize that, but I was. And so that was instrumental, just going into that space and truly, finally, ultimately giving myself that forgiveness.
Wow.
And they also helped me move the energy of course it affects me. It's always going to affect me. And I am no longer willing to have it have a negative effect. It was like there was...
Oh, what a big distinction. Because
it's a huge distinction.
Because yes, anything that is part of our past is always going to affect us, but we can choose to not have it be affecting us negative anymore.
Yes.
That's so powerful. I love that.
Yeah.
It's like, of course this is going to affect me. This is always going to affect me, but it's no longer going to affect me in a negative way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That like hit a chord. Like that's a really strong distinction. That's
huge,
super powerful. I hope everybody's getting that that's watching this.
Yeah.
It's a huge distinction because it's there. Don't try to not call the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is going to be there. Are you going to be happy that the elephant in the room is there? Or are you going to be mad that the elephant in the room is there?
Exactly.
And if you try to hide the elephant in the room, it's still there. So like, you know, like it's going to...
Exactly. So that whole time there had still been a part that was trying to like root it out, you know, like, oh no, that can't be a part anymore of it.
Yeah,
it's like,
push it to the next room, and then you still remember that the elephant's hidden in the next room.
Right,
You're like,
totally.
Move it downstairs.
Yeah.
Elephant's still downstairs.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And that, I mean, it really shifted. And it's like one of those things you know when you know. Even though...
Wow.
No, that's not true. I was always saying, I know there's still a little pocket before this space. I did know. I'm like, there's still a little pocket. I'll get to it when I get to it. You know, like I did know that there was a little space that wasn't free yet. But yeah, the shift since that movement is night and day.
Wow. Yeah, because you powerfully grab control.
Yeah.
And he said, you're not going to own me anymore. I own you.
Yeah.
In my perception and how I perceive and what I do.
Yeah.
Wow. That's such a powerful distinction.
Yeah, without a doubt. And like I said, I still have moments where I'm sad or this is affecting me or that is affecting me. But it's such a different experience.
Yeah.
I to fully feel free, you know, of something that I felt defined me for so long.
Yeah.
And of course it has defining characteristics or parts, and yet it's not the thing that leads me in any way anymore. Like I lead me.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would like to share with people that are going through their own, you know, whether you call it that low or their bottom, or just still struggling with trauma, abuse, or any type of heavy burden or situation that they've went through?
I want people to know that it's possible to be free. It's possible to get out of that pain prison. It's possible to not only not want to die or like to want to live so much that you're excited. It's possible to wake up in the morning and be excited about your life and what you're creating. It's possible. It's all possible, no matter what you've been through, no matter how far you've gone in the other direction. When I tell you that, like, I was in pain prisons, I was, you know, the only reason I'm not dead actually is because there weren't more aspirin in the house. I counted for some reason. There was 55. And I took them, and I thought that would be enough.
I would think that, I mean, I don't know.
It might have actually, I've never researched how many does it take to kill yourself. But what happened was I woke up the next morning and I purged, and there was actually whole pieces of aspirin that came out.
Oh, so they didn't all digest.
They didn't all digest. It sounded like, you know, Snoopy, you know, that wah, 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 wah. When people talk to me, that's what it sounded like. So there was definitely something going on in my system. I don't remember where I went, you know, when I fell asleep at night, but I did come back. Nothing was better. I was still just as miserable, but I did come back knowing that I would not kill myself, that wasn't an option.
Wow.
But my point of telling that story is so that you know, no matter how much you feel like life is like you can't survive it and you want to die, you can find joy and happiness and love and and a heart that like bursts open as you watch the sunset, and all kinds of things. And it really is possible.
Wow. That's powerful. I think it's a really powerful note to end on, too. Yeah. I'll put all of Nia's information down below.
Yeah.
And I want to leave everybody on that note. So if you want to sit and dive into that, meditate on that. But thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this conversation, like it, subscribe, and share it with your friends. If you want some more amazing resources on your path of liberation, head over to liberateyourself.com and sign up for our mailing list. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram at Liberate Hollywood, all one word, or Liberate Emporium, all one word. Until next time, liberate yourself.